The grand bedchamber was too quiet for a night meant to celebrate love. Outside, the kingdom still echoed with music and laughter, but inside, behind heavy golden doors, the air was thick with silence. 𝐲𝐻 sat motionless on the edge of the bed, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes fixed on the floor. The silk gown wrapped around her felt too heavy to forget. Her heart beat wildly beneath it. She didn't know what was supposed to happen. All she knew was that she was now married to the most powerful man in the land, King 𝐤𝐤, and nothing about his new life felt real. The door creaked open. Her breath caught. He stepped inside, still dressed in a dark royal robe, his crown now gone. His presence still terrifyingly regal, but the moment his eyes landed on her, something in his gaze softened. "You are shaking," he said quietly, approaching with slow, careful steps. 𝐲𝐻 looked up with wide, startled eyes. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. 𝐤𝐤, he corrected gently. "Tonight I am not your king, just your husband." She blinked, unsure of how to respond. Her lips parted, but no words came. He stopped in front of her but didn't touch. "Are you frightened of me?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I have never been close to a man before." 𝐤𝐤's expressions didn't change, but his heart ached. She was so young, so pure. Her innocence wasn't just in what she said, it was in everything. The way she sat, her eyes filled with uncertainty, the way her fingers nervously twisted the edge of her sleeve. "Then we don't do anything tonight," he said softly, kneeling before her. "I didn't bring you here to take anything from you, 𝐲𝐻. I brought you here because I chose you, because I love you." Her eyes widened, lips trembling. "Even though I'm just a poor girl, you gave me kindness when you thought I had nothing," he whispered, lifting her hand to his lips. "You saw a thirsty man and gave him water. That moment meant more to me than anything gold ever could." Her throat tightened. No one had ever been that gentle with her. It was late spring, the sun hung low, and the air smelled of wheat and old wood. 𝐤𝐤 rode alone, disguised in ragged clothes and a dust-covered face, his golden ring hidden in a pouch beneath his tunic. Once a month he roamed his kingdom this way, not as a king but as a man, to learn the truth of his people. That day his horse had grown restless, wandering far beyond the village market and into outskirts where the land turned into still, soiled and crooked wooden fences. Then he saw her, 𝐲𝐻. She was kneeling in a field, hands buried in the earth, sweat dripping from her temple. A small boy, no older than 10, sat nearby with a book on his lap, squinting at letters, and an older woman coughed violently under the shade of a tree. "Please," 𝐤𝐤 had stepped forward, voice hoarse. "I need water." 𝐲𝐻 shot up from the dirt, startled, but ran quickly to her small clay jar by the tree. Without a word, she handed it to him with both hands and watched him drink. "You look like you have been wandering for days," she said. "Sit, rest for a moment." "Won't your family worry?" he asked carefully. She laughed softly. "They are my family," and her gaze flickered toward the coughing woman and the boy he noticed. Then her hands were blistered, her eyes tired, but her smile, gentle and warm, held more strength than any weapon he had ever seen. "Why do you work so hard alone?" he asked. She shrugged. "Because my brother must study and become something greater than me, and my mother," her voice faltered, "she's not well. If I don't work, we don't eat." 𝐤𝐤 said nothing. That night when he returned to the palace, her face haunted him, the kindness in her voice, the fairness in her exhaustion, the quiet resilience of her heart. He tried to forget her, he couldn't. She looked down, cheeks burning. I'm just nervous," she whispered. "I don't know much about this, about what happens next." 𝐤𝐤's heart softened. He sat down beside her, close but careful. "Are you afraid of it?" "No," she said quickly. "I trust you. I've never done this before. I don't know how." He gently turned to her, brushing a soft strand of hair away from her cheek. Then let me teach you love, slowly, gently. I'll go as far as for you allow. Her breath trembled at his words. There was no pressure in his voice, no hunger that rushed or demanded, only warmth. Okay, she whispered almost shyly. I don't want to do anything wrong. He smiled at that, leaning in close enough for her to feel the warmth of his breath. With me there's no wrong. Just feel, let me take care of you. She nodded, her lashes fluttering. Vian's body trembled beneath his hand, not from fear but from the overwhelming rush of something new, something soft and scared. Jungkook held her gently, murmuring words into her skin, praises, reassurances, his voice like silk. He guided her through each movement, asking softly if she was alright, if he could continue, and when her small voice whispered yes, he gave her everything, not just his touch, but his patience, his control, his love. It was nothing like cold stories whispered by servants or the terrifying things she'd once feared. It was warm, safe, emotional. Her fingers clung to his arms, her eyes glazed with shy wonder, and he never let go of her hand. Afterward, she lay against his chest, her skin flushed and eyes wide, her lips forming a smile that only he got to see. I didn't know it could be like that, she murmured sleepily. Jungkook kissed the crown of her hair. Only with someone you love, he whispered, only when it's real. The royal dining hall, usually cold and lined with advisors and noblesse, felt surprisingly warm tonight. The long table wasn't dressed in grandeur, no golden goblets or scrolls of power, just warm food, quiet laughter, and the presence of something far more rare. Palace like this, family. Vian sat beside Jungkook, still dressed in a simpler version of her bridal gown. Her hands nervously folded in her lap. Her mother and younger brother stared around in awe. Her brother's eyes sparkled at the chandeliers, and her mother, frail but alert, blinked as if trying to believe she wasn't dreaming. Jungkook, seated at the head of the table, offered a small smile. I'm glad you both came, he began, setting down his goblet. This home is yours now too. Vian's mother opened her mouth, stunned. Your Majesty. Jungkook, he corrected gently. To you, I'm simply your daughter's husband. She looked at him, then eyes shining. I never thought in my whole life that my daughter would be married to the king of Aries. Jungkook turned to Vian, his hand brushing lightly over hers beneath the table. Neither did I, he said with a soft smile, but the god must favor me. He looked back at her mother, now speaking more firmly. I want you to rest now, no more worry about the farm or about medicine. I have summoned the best healer from the east, and they will stay here as long as needed for your treatment. And your son, he turned to the boy who stared up in silent amazement, will be enrolled in the palace academy starting next week. All expenses handled. I will oversee it myself. There was silence, then a sharp breath from Vian's mother. Her lips trembled as she pressed her hands together. Your Majesty, I have no words. You don't need them, he replied, warm but regal. Just let me repay the kindness your daughter was gave me, like I was someone worthy of care. Lion squeezed his hand under the table. Her heart thudded. This man, this king who ruled armies and lands, spoke to her family with more softness than she'd ever known. Later that evening, the hallway outside their chamber was silent. Her mother and brother had been given their own warm rooms. The palace felt less like a crown and more like a home. Inside their bedchamber, Vian stood by the window, her fingers playing with the edge of the curtain. She felt him come up behind her, his presence quiet but comforting. You didn't have to do all that, she said silently. Jungkook wrapped his arms slowly around her waist from behind, pulling her gently against his chest. I wanted to. The rest the woman I fell in love with. She blushed. her voice barely above a whisper. "You really mean all of this, don't you?" He turned her around, cradling her face in his hands. "Wine," he said, his thumbs brushing her cheeks. "Do you know how long I searched for something that felt real?" His voice grew softer. "I have had riches, kingdoms, alliances, but none of them made me feel the way I did when you handed me the old cup of water and smiled like I mattered." Wine swallowed, blinking back tears. "I'm thankful," he whispered, forehead touching hers, "that I finally got you, that fate let me find you." Her fingers rested lightly against his chest. "You are the king of everything, but tonight you feel like mine." He chuckled gently, pressing a kiss to her nose. "I have always been yours." Not as a king claiming his queen, but as a man thanking the girl who changed everything.